What's up guys, my name is Renesect, and welcome back to another Pokemon Challenge video. And today, we're going to be answering the question, how fast can I beat Pokemon Fire Red with only a Squirtle? However, this isn't just a speed run. This is a starter race between myself, Arantula, Christian Pokemon Champion, Betraptor Games, and Duster Dan. So be sure to watch their videos to see which of us was the fastest. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to all of our channels as well. Links will be in the description below. This did take a lot of work to put in, so be sure to check them out. Anyways, let's get off with the rules of this run. For Squirtle specifically, we can only use him in battle. Held items are allowed, but no items can be used inside a battle. HM slaves are allowed. And last but not least, no cheats or glitches of any kind. Because that would be wrong. It's a speed run, not a hacked run. Well, anyways, I go ahead and name my rival the Keg, and I go ahead to pick Squirtle, because obviously that's the point. And I decide to name him the rip-off version of Poir from Dragon Ball Z. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. And then we go ahead and fight our rival. There's not much to talk about there. After that, I decide to do a little bit of grinding before Brock. I actually started using the damage calculator for my solo runs recently, so after looking at it, level 13 was going to be our ideal level for this. So we went ahead and goes with Geodude, and I go ahead to use a bubble, which was able to take him out. And last but not least came the Onix, which was no challenge to me whatsoever. He did go for a bind, but really didn't matter. So yeah, it was easy stuff right there. The next fight, however, came in Cerulean City with Misty. Misty was not a pushover, to say the least. It did take me a few attempts to beat her, but all it took was Bite. That's literally the only thing I had at my disposal. However, we were able to pull off a critical hit as it keeps going for a Water Pulse. I was confused, but I did pick up a Person Berry in the process, and I go ahead and go for another Bite to take out the Staryu. Then came the Starmie, which went for a Water Pulse. I had to make sure RNG was on my side this time, because if it wasn't, we would have been confused and it would have been bad for us. However, we stood on a small bit of HP and we were able to take out the Starmie. After getting the TM for Water Pulse, which is handed by Misty, we can go ahead and take on the Keg once more. So he leads off with the Pidgeotto, and I go for a Water Pulse, and it goes for a Sand Attack. Originally, I was going to fight my rival first before Misty to get the XP, but he just wasn't having it right now. And then he sends out the Bulbasaur, and then we go for a Bite, missed, and we just kept biting away until RNG decides to kick in on our side once more. Then came the Abra, wasn't that big of a deal, used Teleport, not much of a challenge there. Then came the Rattata, which had Quick Attack. Not like the one in Vintage White where it has 31 IVs and has adaptability. Also, we see this guy turn himself into a Pokemon. That's some funny stuff right there. I don't know what he was doing or what he was thinking. We go ahead and fight our rival on the SS Ant once again. And he pretty much has the same team as before, so nothing to talk about here. Same strategy as before. I did level up actually to level 34. Wasn't that much of a big deal. Well, for us at least. All we had to do was just dodge a few moves and make sure that we weren't in some serious trouble. RNG was on our side this turn again, and we were able to sweep out his entire team. Nothing much to say here, but I guess it's just how the way the wind blows. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why his team is just really bad in the early game. He may be easy now, but as we get later on, it's going to be much of a big challenge. We then go ahead and get the HM for Cut, and we go ahead and take on Surge. I would be lying if I said this was the hardest fight I've ever done. Just watch carefully. We go ahead, it misses its move, we dig, and it kills. Voltorb gone. Pikachu comes out next. We dig a hole, it double teams. RNG's on our side. We hit the dig, Pikachu gone. Raichu comes out. It goes for a double team. We dig. It goes for yet another double team, and against all odds, with 2 double teams set up, we dig, right you gone. Easy fight. We then go ahead and take on Giovanni, which was not that big of a deal. All he had was ground types, but the most threatening thing on his team was the Kangaskhan, who hits like a truck. However, nothing but a few water pulses, and having to dodge flinches wasn't that big of a deal. It was kind of a struggle here and there, but really wasn't that big of a hard fight whatsoever. We were able to pull off a confusion, but it still hit us with a mega punch, and this puts us in range of Torrent, which made water pulse do some extra damage. Which, if you don't know what Torrent does, depending on how much health you have, will vary on how much damage you will deal with water type moves. This is a strat that I'm going to keep using throughout the entire run, in most hard parts of the game at least. Such as the Koga fight. I did exactly that, since I didn't feel like fighting Erica or Sabrina at that point, and I thought I could go ahead and try to surf all the way to Cinnabar Island, but it just doesn't work like that. We need to have the soul badge. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy fighting Koga. They just needed more tools, so I just decided to buy the TM for double team. And along the way, I tried to grind up money for Ice Beam, so there was another excuse to try to go to Cinnabar Island and Fuchsia City. Just for those 2 reasons. Getting stronger and getting the TM for Ice Beam, since Squirtle hardly has any coverage whatsoever. Alright, using the strategy that I talked about. Pre-damaging into Torrent, we double team to try to make sure that we dodge a lot of Koffing's moves. If we're able to have slightest into the red health, our Surf will be at max damage. That is with Torrent. And I did meant to buy the Mystic Water, but I didn't think it would be needed, since we needed the Lumberry in order to cure our poison. That is, if we ever get it. And we did, unfortunately, so our Lumberry is pretty much gone. And next comes in the Muck, which had Minimize, which if you didn't know is kind of like Double Team, which raises evasion. Koga then goes for a Hyper Potion, we try to go for a Dig, and we miss, and at that point, it was just keep missing everything until Dig hits something. But it wasn't a very good consistent strat. And as soon as he went for Acid Armor, it didn't look too good. So Surf was my only option here. It did more damage than Dig, and I was in full Torrent range. So Water type moves were pretty much at its maximum. The Wheezing goes down, then the Coughing goes down, and then he sends out his Muck. And then we go for a Surf. You know, so I try to mix those up a little bit. It's just to be funny, you know. It's funny when you mispronounce Pokemon names. Anyways, next came in Blaine after we went through the Pokemon house to get the key. From here, I went ahead and go for a Surf while I was pre-damaged, just to do some of that extra damage. I had to set up double teams just to make sure that Fire Blast and the other moves that Rapidash and Arcanine have on Blaine's team, just make sure they miss. But Surf pretty much swept the floor with them. Easy fight. Nothing too much to say here, to be honest. And there you have it. Next up, we had to fight Giovanni yet again. And then, afterwards, we go ahead and make our way to Celadon City yet again. Ice beamed everything and put Erica on ice. Okay, yeah, I'm done. No more puns. Sabrina was also a complete joke too. Nothing much to say there. We fight Giovanni once again, for the last time, at least. And we gain the Earth Badge. And now it's time to make our way to the Elite Four. From there, it was kind of a struggle. Lorelei wasn't that big of a deal, but also was a big deal because of Slowbro. Bruno also wasn't that big of a deal. All we had to do was just keep using Surf, and we almost lost to Agatha, but Poison kinda almost screwed us over. Lance, on the other hand, wasn't that kind of a big deal, except for the Gyarados, because it resists half of our moves, which if you didn't know, we have Brick Break, Surf, and Ice Beam as our attacking moves. To put a little salt on the wound, he sent this turnaround, he sent out his Dragonite, and I thought that Ice Beam would be in range to kill, but it wasn't. Great. Second time around, we were able to take it down with another Ice Beam, and we win the fight easily. And last but not least was the Aerodactyl. The Aerodactyl outsped us and tried to go for an Ancient Power, but missed because we had multiple double teams attached. We go ahead and take it down with a critical Surf. Even, I guess we'll never know if Surf would do just the job without the critical hit. We'll never know. But right now, it's time to take on our rival, the Keg, for the last time, to claim our champion title. I had to set up double teams on the Pidgeot, which the Pidgeot was not really having it. It had Aerial Ace, so I just had to keep pushing Surf. I also had to keep pushing double teams on the Venusaur, which was actually pretty easy. As long as it kept missing its Solar Beams, it just let us win easily. The Alakazam didn't miss a Psychic, but it put us in Torrent range, and we were able to sweep the Rhydon. Then came the Gyarados, the Nightmare, that continues to haunt me to this day. I'd go for an Ice Beam, as it goes for a Dragon Rage, and I just kept spamming Ice Beam as it kept spamming Dragon Rage. And some of its moves missed, but some of them actually hit, and it put me on a sliver of HP. But this also means that Surf is at max power, which is a really good thing. We Ice Beam, and he gets frozen solid. We then go for another Ice Beam, which doesn't even kill, and that gives our rival a chance to use a full restore. Which is kind of stressful, because now we just increase our chances of us getting hit. But luckily, we didn't get punished. And we go for another Surf, and it takes out the Gyarados. That was the last Gyarados I'll ever have to take on, and last came out the Arcanine. Which comes down to if Arcanine can miss its... Oh, wait, it's over. It's all over. Well, I guess that's the game. Lastly, I want to give a big shout out to Betraptor Games for hosting this thing, and a big shout out to Christian Pokemon Champion for inviting me over to do this little sort of collab type thingy. We ended up with a time of 12 hours and 12 minutes, which I'd be surprised if this wasn't the worst time, because this isn't my first attempt at beating the Elite Four. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and maybe I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.